Thank you. So hello everybody. Myself and Clive are here to talk to you today about our project, which is called Creative Dementia Research Group. So here we are. So that's myself and Clive there, who will be I'll be handing over to Clive in just a couple of slides time. And unfortunately, our other colleague Alison Ward from the University of Northampton can't be here tonight, but myself and Clive represent the University of Derby. We both work in the Department of Therapeutic Arts. So that's enough of that rogues gallery there. So a little bit about the project that we're doing. So the Creative Dementia Research Group is an Arts Humanities Research Council funded project, and it's been running since March 2022. Its target audience is people living with younger onset dementia, sometimes referred to as working age dementia. It's also for their family members, so their partners, their spouse, siblings, children, their friends, or their caregivers. We're interested in the impact of drama and play-based creative activities to support and strengthen the relationships that people with young onset dementia have with those closest to them. A key point of significance for us is to shift the focus from residential care home-based provision out into the community. Our delivery methods are drawn from the embodiment, projection and role framework from Sue Jennings's Neuro Dramatic play approach. Sue is pictured here at the top left hand side of the photographs on the screen. And the framework explains the developmental process of infants through to young children as they develop their cognitive, physical, emotional and social aspects for themselves through play. Clive's going to be talking a little bit more about that in just a moment. So a little bit about the significance of the problem that we are addressing and why it's particularly relevant in our current time and beyond. So dementia is one of the biggest societal and health challenges globally. It's estimated that 944,000 people in the UK live with a form of dementia, and the number is predicted to rise to 1.6 million by 2050. Worldwide, the figure is expected to reach 152 million by 2050. And while most research focuses quite rightly on a cure, there is research like ours that seeks to support care provision for those who are currently living with a diagnosis of dementia. So those who do receive a diagnosis of dementia later on in life are often found to find support in care home environments, but those who are under the age of 65, they'll often still be working and still supporting their own families. So the care burden is then placed in the hands of partners, children, and those closest to them. People with working age dementia are really looking for services that fit their unique needs, that focus on their family relationships, socialization, and also maintaining their selfhood. However, these services are really few and far between. The impact of a diagnosis of dementia to someone under the age of 65, as you can imagine, results in significant changes to the way that people plan their lives and see their futures. And it also impacts on their current daily experiences, and many lose their social family relationships, which then leads to increased social isolation, stress and depression and loss of self-identity. I'm just going to hand you over now to Clive, who's going to tell you a little bit more about the mechanisms that we use.
Yeah, great, thank you. Yeah, so neurodramatic play sounds quite complex, but in one sense it's not. It's a combination of what we call neuroscience, brain development, attachment and play and drama therapy, developed, as we said, by Sue Jennings, who was one of the founders of play and drama therapy in the UK. So it charts child development from birth through to about 6 or 7 years old. And in particular, the EPR aspect of the work looks at how a child goes from sort of playing and crawling through to picking up small toys and then eventually acting out and playing roles. So that's basically the principle of what it came from. Next slide, please, Gemma. And what a colleague of ours did in Australia was look upon it from the perspective of how you might work with people, particularly with dementia. So instead of having embodiment, projection, role, what about role, projection and embodiment, depending on people's levels of dementia, so mild, moderate or severe dementia. And so a colleague in Australia, Joanne Janice, decided to develop it to work with people with dementia by sort of turning it on its head and turning it the other way round. Next slide, please. So yeah, as Gemma was saying at the very beginning there, what we particularly wanted to do was to try and focus on working with people under the age of 65, as Gemma said, a group that with dementia, a group of people that really are not supported particularly well, except in a few very small places. And what we also wanted to do is work with people in the community. And the other thing I didn't say is that NDP and EPR is very much about relational. It's about building solid relationships. It's about building attachments between the individual and the caregiver, or obviously originally with children, with the child and the parental figure that supports them and looks after them. I'm aware we're probably running out of time.
You're running over a little bit. If you could kind of...
Yeah, one more slide.
Yeah, perfect.
So this is where we are at the moment. We've got, we're currently doing our data analysis. We've got 8-month follow-up with our participants, final analysis with groups, with group members, and then we'll be holding a public knowledge cafe, trying to support and get out working with GPs, dementia organisations, charities, services and councils. And that's basically it. Thank you for listening.